For real.
Hello and welcome to McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk. I am the first name in that. I am Pat McAfee. Sitting to my left, camera's right, is a man who's in a house from 1910 that is currently 110 degrees, Mr. AJ Hawk. What's going on, bub?
Oh, what's up, Pat? Yeah, you're right. I'm staying in an old, nice, real piece of Americana house, but it was built in 1910. Therefore, the air conditioning does not get to the upstairs very quickly. So you have to crank it up. So downstairs is about 60 degrees, upstairs is about 78, and just try to balance it out between the two.
This has been a hell of a Hawk family world tour here. You were down in Florida, then Tahoe, now Wisconsin in an old school 1910 house, I assume, that has really good tech. I mean, this has been a Hawk family world tour. Is this an every summer thing?
This is not. No, this is something that I think coming off of quarantine and everything, we just kind of scheduled. Like basically the month of July, we were going to be out and about and traveling and still being safe and everything. But yeah, we've been away from the house for a while now.
You might be able to go home early. You might be able, if you wanted to. If you wanted to, of course.
It's too hot.
We have the house through, through Monday or Tuesday of next week, so I doubt we'll go home early.
Well, you might.
I mean, TBD, dude. Yeah. TBD. Don't take anything off the table, will you? Let's talk about that golf tournament that's happening very close to your house. I would like to say this, okay? I think accountability is something that every human should have, okay? A little accountability. My super boost here that we have started with this FanDuel relationship, Christian Pulisic to score first, didn't happen. They tried to break his fucking legs 2 minutes into the game, so he wasn't able to score first. I thought that one was going to hit. Then the Jorge Masvidal first round knockout TKO. I didn't know that was going to hit, but it was like plus 1,100. I mean, that's a massive thing. And then the super boost this week was Tiger Woods just to make the cut from minus 450 to plus 100. And I'll tell you what, we are dancing with the cut line somehow. The super boost might be an actual jinx, a curse, and I'll look in the mirror this weekend and figure it out. I'm going to have to, AJ. I'm going to have to.
Hey, do we know, did Tiger make his par putt on his last hole?
He has not putted yet.
He's at like 4 feet for par, I guess. He just made birdie on his 17th hole, the actual 8th hole. They're saying +2 or +3 will be the cut line. He is currently at +3. Needs to make a 4-foot putt for par on his 18th hole to even be in contention to maybe make the cut. And we need all the golfers this afternoon to play terrible for the good of the sport. Everybody wants Tiger in for the weekend.
Yep.
This weekend, this afternoon, go ahead and miss a couple putts so we can get Tiger in there.
Please.
And the thousands and thousands of people that bet the Tiger Woods cut thing for plus 100 can also make their money and maybe not ruin a super boost record like this early on.
Yeah, don't you think we need the weather to really pick up in Columbus this afternoon for everyone teeing off about now? We need the winds to gust about 30 to 50. We need those greens to harden up even more. I don't know. So Tiger's, if he makes that par putt, he finishes at +3. Right now, the projected cut is +2
or +3.
Don't you think they'll find a way to finagle that to get Tiger into the weekend?
I don't know how, because I was thinking about that as well. I was like, oh, the golf people, if he's close, they're going to put him in. They want him in the tournament, obviously. But then I thought for the sports gambling thing, there probably has to be I don't know if the golf people can just be like, fuck it, we'll take 72. I don't know if they're allowed to do that, especially with the sports gambling world, how it is, especially since that's a bet everywhere. Now, I hope they do that. And by the way, I'll tell FanDuel, going to have to pay me for that. Hey, they made a decision on me, pal. What do you want from me? But I also thought about potentially driving a fan over there for this afternoon and just walking around. Just go ahead and just blow those balls all over the place. We need nobody gets hurt, hopefully. Nobody loses anything. We need a tornado in Dublin, Ohio this afternoon, okay? I don't want anybody to lose any property. I don't want any cows to get sucked up like Twister. No. I don't want anybody to get hurt. I don't want anything like that. I would just like the golfers this afternoon to golf very poorly, and I believe a tornado can do the trick to get Tiger in there.
Yeah, you would hope. Man, it didn't it seem like it was a lock yesterday? Tiger shot 1 under, and he came out and he tees off at 8:15 this morning Eastern, and the weather, the wind was down. It seemed like it was prime for scoring, but he just couldn't put it together. This was his day to jump up the board. So hopefully he makes the weekend and he can have a monster Saturday to kind of put him somewhere near contention. I mean, that's very optimistic for me. Very hopeful thinking, I guess.
We got to watch the first couple holes. I'm going to tell you what. His golf costume today looked good. He looked confident. He was hitting the ball well. And Rory in his group was playing terrible. I was like, look how good Tiger looks. Here we go. And Rory flips it around. Tiger ends up getting on a little bit of a schneid, but here he is, 18th hole, drains the putt for par. He's currently at +3, which could potentially be the cut line. So everybody that's been attacking me in my super boost on FanDuel, go ahead and fucking save it, pal. We're still alive. We are still alive, AJ.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. So what's he at right now? I'm trying to look at what place is he?
So there's 71 players currently at +2 or better.
I think it was 72, but same thing.
He's T72.
No, that was at +2 or better. So I don't know who was at +3. I don't know how many people are at +3.
No,
so
he's tied
He's
for
tied for
72nd,
72nd,
right
which is not good enough. Because
now. Not
there's
yet, but it could be.
Yes,
it
correct.
could be. The cut could be moved to +3.
yeah.
I don't know how any of it works. I just hope everybody shits the bed.
All we need is, I believe how it works is all we need is 2 of those players, 2 or so of
in
those
the club
players
to leave the club.
in the +2 club to leave the
Oh,
club.
all we need to do is just go in the club. Hey, we're at capacity. Need a couple people to leave before we can sneak in. They're going to get too drunk. They're going to get escorted out of there. It's going to open up some space for capacity. Tiger's going to sneak right in. Just like I thought Super Boost was a lock. Congrats to Tiger Woods making a cut this weekend.
Yeah,
Look at us. I'm pumped up about it.
And then Brooks just doubled 18 to go to +3.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Why'd you say yeah?
Oh, they need him in. It's got to move to +3.
that
and
might
they need
help,
Brooks
yeah.
in the weekend.
That
too.
definitely helps, but we like Brooks.
Yeah.
We do.
But
You know, Brooks sent us some Michelob Ultra and popcorn to the office.
Maybe Brooks did it for Tiger.
That's nice.
He listened to what I literally just said.
He put it
and
in
said,
the
hey,
water.
boys,
He put it in the water.
need you to go ahead and just maybe up this thing a little bit. Brooks like, I got you, bro, because everybody wants to see me and Tiger on Sunday anyways. Let's go ahead and go for it.
You'd think the PGA would maybe grease a couple palms of these guys. Like, hey, here's 25 hunch. Maybe,
Listen. It's for the good of our sport.
Yeah.
Nobody knows you exist. Just go ahead. Now, listen, not saying you're not good at we appreciate what you do for our sport, but if you know anything about anything, this whole world revolves around ratings. And when that guy that is a big cat, the Tiger, is prowling, and he wasn't able to get it done today, but we just need you to help him out a little bit for the good of sport. Go ahead and fucking just hit every tree you can find out there. Go ahead and have that. We need that to happen this afternoon, AJ. We need it.
I was looking at the leaderboard. There's a bunch of people at +2 that are teeing off like right about now. There's 17 or 18 people at +3. So
He's in.
Yeah, if
He's
that
getting
moves right, do all those people at +3 make it in?
I believe if you're at a score that is the cut line, you make it in. And that's why there's so much math, because you have to be in the top 70. They don't know how many is there. Maybe they take 71, though, if more people are at the cut line, and it may be a little bit less if there's less. So they have to figure that all out.
Yeah, I think I feel good about his chances making it. I feel like
Me
this
too. I never had a doubt.
Come on,
Yeah, yeah.
Come on, Tiger.
good bet.
I never had a doubt, AJ. You played the course, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you're very close to the situation. Very, very, very close to the situation. And I feel like you would know whether or not Tiger's focused out in and would be able to make the cut for this weekend. And if he does get in there, he's probably going to go dancing, I'd assume. Is that accurate?
Yeah, hopefully. I sure hope. I know playing the course, so Tiger played in the morning. I know sometimes it can be much more difficult after 12 o'clock to play. So I think that bodes well for Tiger. All of his competitors are teeing off right about now. They're going to drop back about 8 shots. They're going to take off and go home for the weekend, and hopefully he stays there Saturday and Sunday and puts up 2 big rounds.
Saturday, Sunday, maybe even stay through Monday, right?
Yeah.
Might as well.
Maybe.
Enjoy Dublin a little bit. Enjoy
What would he do
Columbus.
there?
Enjoy the
Why?
trophy.
Why would he do that?
Have fun with the trophy. He
Hey, he
just
probably
won.
enjoys it too. A little celebration. Hey, this place is nice. Let's stick around.
Parade.
Maybe they will set up a socially distanced parade for him within 12 hours of him winning the Memorial
going.
Tournament for the 6th
I'll
time.
go.
For sure. It's Tiger freaking
You know that
Woods.
fan that I was going to take over there this afternoon to kind of hurt people until I thought maybe just a tornado that doesn't hurt anybody should do the trick? I think I'll take one of those inflatable, wacky, flailing arm guys.
Oh, yeah.
Because it'll be me and that person socially distanced for the parade over there for Tiger.
I think he would appreciate that.
Let's talk about some news, shall we? Yesterday, the Washington Post expose on the Washington football team name TBDs came out at 5:28 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on a Thursday, and it tells the story of a lady named Emily Applegate, and she tells her story of working for the Washington football team for years and 14 other women accuse the culture of being incredibly toxic. They tell tales of harassment, sexually, physically, and they talk about how basically it was a nightmare of a job. Now, it was obviously disturbing and alarming to know that a company, especially one that is in the NFL, which is supposed to be held to a very high standard in all aspects, not just the players, not just the coaches, the trainers, the equipment managers, the business. The NFL holds itself to a much higher standard. So that happening in an NFL building, terrible. I believe Ron Rivera is the right guy to go in there and get that thing fixed, hopefully. It seems like from reading through that story, the people that were the biggest scumbags or alleged biggest scumbags in this entire thing, they have left the organization. Ron Rivera has come out and said, my daughter will be working here, so we're going to get this figured out. I think Ron Rivera is a godsend, by the way, for that franchise over there. A man that's loved by everybody that's ever worked for him. Players respect him, and he's been around long enough to know, like, hey, this is how you do it the right way. Rebuild an entire culture over there, because obviously what was reported on yesterday, which was confirmed and double confirmed, because that's what Big J journalists have to do when they write a story, is not something that is any good for any. That's terrible. And I'm sorry to the ladies that had to do that, especially because the NFL is something I take a lot of pride in, because I was lucky to be in it, and I'm a massive fan of it. So that aside, the things that were alleged to be in that story alongside a terrible, toxic sexual harassment culture were not in the story. And that's good for the rest of the NFL. Now, the rigging of games, the drug and alcohol abuse, the sex parties that were allegedly going to be in this story, and or not the rigging of games, but the paying of ref, that was not in the article. That was alleged to not be anywhere near true. And aside from, obviously, this is a terrible situation that has come to light in the NFL that has to get fixed with the toxic culture. But all that other stuff, I bet the NFL is like, we are happy that they weren't paying refs, because that is detrimental to everything and everybody that is represented by the Shield.
Yeah, so with everyone that was in the Washington organization, did they name names in this article?
Yes. There's three to four men, males, which I tweeted out females last night. I got attacked by a couple of people for not saying women instead of females. Females, I guess, is... I don't know. Right there, I say, the disturbing details about the workplace environment for the females who came forward to speak to the Washington Post were alarming. So I got yelled at for saying females by some people. I should have said women. I apologize for that. But the males that were being spoken about in the article, they have all left the team, but they were around for a very long time, I think, some of them. And they, from the stories that were alleged in that post, abused some power, I would believe, is the proper way to describe that particular scumbag move, alleged.
And so, but there's no allegations directly against Dan Snyder, the owner, but they're saying like he's definitely complicit because he had to know some of this was happening, right?
Yeah, it's like gross negligence, right? If it's happening in your building, especially for the length of time that it happened, that was being talked about, not knowing is gross negligence, which means you're probably not running good business to begin with. And once you start piecing that together, I guess Bruce Allen, who was the president, he was not directly named either as somebody that was doing the harassing, but I guess he was 30 feet away from her and saw her crying at her desk numerous times a week. Like, reading it was alarming. Just somebody that goes to work, especially at the NFL, right? And this sounds like so cliche, but it's real. Like, the NFL is supposed to set a standard. For this person to have such a miserable and 15 women to talk about the same stories, it's very, very terrible. And the fact that Dan Snyder either didn't know that it was happening right underneath his nose in his building by his people, or the fact that he did know and just didn't do anything about it, both of those are not great for old Dan Snyder.
Yeah, it's not good, but it could have been much, much worse. It sounds like, okay, so with all of these wild internet rumors that we were talking about yesterday on the show,
alleged
these allegations, all of these allegations that were being thrown out. First off, where did they come from? Who, like, was there any shreds of truth to any of it? And how does it get so blown out of control, I guess, before they go public with the actual article, which, hey, credit to the Washington Post for taking their time and confirming everything and making sure that this is all legit what you're reporting and not really reporting on allegations or rumors or whatever. But how does it go? How does it go so wild before the article even comes out? Who starts all this, and how does the snowball get rolling?
I have no idea. I saw a lot of people after the article came out, and it took us, like 20 minutes to read, 25 minutes to read. It was rather thorough in.
Now, when you say us, do you guys sit around in a circle and read it aloud together? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, they weren't going to get 10 subscriptions out of this fucking office. They
No
got
way.
They got one, and we all read it. Okay.
Maybe that's why I didn't read the full thing, because it was one of those deals where you got to subscribe after you read the first paragraph.
Yeah, that is exactly
Come
what
on
it was.
now, this is the age of the internet. Why do people still do that? It causes you not to read things.
It's all right. A lot of people,
Chopped it,
screwed it, screenshot it, put it out. But when it was put out at 5:28, we wanted to read it, so we had it up there. We read through it. It takes us like 25 minutes. And the allegations, right? The allegations that were being talked about on the internet, as we were reading through it, I was like, as we're reading through the stories and the, just absolutely terrible time that these women had working in the NFL, which is that's not good, obviously. And I've never worked in a workplace that had that type of situation happen. So for me, a lot of people on the internet that were trying to diminish the story, which, by the way, I think with what the allegations were, there was a lot of, there was pimping, drugs, sex parties, paying of refs. There was a lot of sensational things that were being said about this. So a lot of people, kind of downplayed the article or whatever, but it's still terrible. But as we were reading it for 25 minutes there, I was thinking in the back of my head while reading it, I was like, with all these stories, with how terrible the place is, and if these allegations come in at the end about paying refs and everything like that, I'm like, Dan Snyder's got no he's out. They need to also, by the way, they need some reparations for people. They need to somehow figure out how to do this. But then when the article ended without all that stuff, my initial thought was incredibly terrible culture over there. But all this other stuff, was there smoke there and they couldn't get it confirmed? Was it just one lie by somebody who potentially had an axe to grind against the Red? Like, what was you? I guess we'll never know. I guess we'll never ever know. But there's a lot of people saying. I got a lot of tweets from people last night after I put my post out. They were like, "This is probably just the tip of the iceberg. There's going to be more coming." And I'm like, "Is that how that works? Like they do one and then they release another? I don't know if that's how that works. To be honest, I don't think that was the first time I've read a newspaper article in probably. Oh, yeah. Years. Yeah. Years, probably.
Do you think part of it, too, was, I can't remember in recent memory, a news story that had, this much, kind of hype building to it? Every time something like this comes out, it kind of just gets dropped out there, and then the article comes out, and that's the end of it. But, people were building to this. It was will it come out today, won't it? So I think a lot of people could have just been like, oh, we can say something crazy and sensational, and it'll probably really go.
Yeah. I feel like some people got trolled, potentially.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And by the way, that's why we said yesterday, if what is being alleged, I feel like I said that 5 times yesterday, maybe 6 times. And I'm not getting any credit for that on the internet, by the way. I was getting yelled at by Washington
for what?
Team named TBDs for fanning the flame. I'm just reporting what's on the internet. We're an internet show. I'm just telling you if what's being alleged. You can go back and watch the tape. But those were some wild fucking accusations coming out. And they ultimately were not in the article. I hope Washington can turn that place around. Ron Rivera seems like the perfect guy to be in there to hopefully do that. Independent investigation coming that will set the precedent for the procedures and way they handle things going forward is what Dan Snyder said today when he finally answered. I bet yesterday was a long day for Dan Snyder. He learned, I would assume in the last couple of days as these people got fired and left, he was learning a lot about his company that either he didn't know or he was trying to kind of put away and not remember for a long time.
Yeah, and Ron Rivera steps into the head coach's gig there, and he kind of is the de facto guy to do everything. He's the guy leading the charge for what the new name of the team is going to be. All of a sudden, he's handling all this stuff that he's never handled before as a head coach. Now, he seems like the perfect guy to do this, and especially building the culture back up to what it should be in Washington. Doesn't seem like Ron Rivera is the guy you want there, but man, there's a lot on this dude's plate that he has to handle before he even steps on the field with his team trying to win some games.
He should get a percentage of the team. Give him a percentage of the team.
I agree. I don't think Dan Snyder would do that, but yeah, I think he would. He deserves some of it.
Does this make me look smart, you think?
Yeah. Really smart.
Oh, yeah.
Cool glasses.
Those are also cool glasses.
Very cool.
You know, AJ, when you're sitting in that steam room in Wisconsin in a house that was founded in 1910, sometimes you just got to bask in that heat. Because they say if you can't take the heat, stay out of the kitchen. But you're not in the kitchen, you're in the attic. So handle that fucking heat.
Is that
Garth Brooks.
Is this Garth Brooks?
I tried to watch another episode.
What happened? What happened?
Every time they go to those things, those shots, I think that is going to be a constant throughout the entire series, is the incredibly deep one-on-one confessional moment that carries the story. And I'm not saying that they aren't impressive. I am not saying that they aren't motivational. And I'm not saying they don't tug at the heartstrings, but I don't know how every single one of them can get more fucking emotional and deep after it. I mean, it just, whenever you think like, oh, that was very deep, then they go back, maybe we'll do a lighter one. He gets out a bigger fucking shovel and goes deeper down somehow. And it's just, dude, we're going down. I'm like, I don't got time for it, Garth. Okay, Chris Gaines, I do not have time for it. I am out of here, AJ.
How do you think Garth feels do you think he sits around with his family and watches this? Could he watch it and be like, "Oh man, what a good episode! Really got my points across there."
Man, did you hear when I talk like that? Because when you talk like that and the camera's watching, it's not just that camera, it's not just that lens, it's not just the cameraman or woman. It's millions of people. So when you're talking to that camera, remember, you can fuck a lot up very quickly. Garth Brooks, Chris Gaines. It's fucking wild. It might be the most intense show I've ever watched in my life.
And nobody's talking about it, though. I feel like me and you and maybe Tom Segura and some of his fans are talking about it. Nobody else seems to pay any attention to it.
There's a reason. It stinks. All right. Let's go to the NFL and the NFLPA. They have discussed the possibility of allowing unlimited players to return from the IR and non-football injury list. This is because there are a lot of questions about when they return to training camp, they're going to get tested. They don't know if it's going to be daily or bi-weekly, or they have no idea what the testing is going to be, because I'm not sure they know if they have enough tests to potentially have to test everybody every day, because you're talking about a lot of humans. But whenever they do finally get back in there, which Calais Campbell, who's a member of the executive committee for the NFLPA, told us they will, it looks like they will be able to get back, which is a little piece of optimism from the people that are from somebody that's in the conversation, in the room where it happens. And I am excited to get back in there. But this return off of IR, non-football injury, after 3 weeks instead of being out for the entire season, I think it's good. I liked a couple years ago when they were allowed to designate people IR with something for return or whatever, and at 7 weeks they're allowed to come back if they get healthy. I think that should happen a little bit more often. If a guy gets hurt and he somehow figures out a way with treatment and work ethic, and he comes back earlier than expected, and he's one of your big name guys, and we can get him back on the field, I think you should do that. And I would assume that with COVID-19, somebody potentially having to get, sit out for a couple weeks for quarantine, they're going to have to change those rules and adjust those rules. But while we're adjusting them, let's talk a little bit more about that IR designated to return tag.
Yeah, why don't we go more towards like a baseball model, like a 15-day DL, 30-day, however many, I don't know how many days they do it now, but that's how the NFL should be. Like, I never understood why when you put a guy in IR, he's done for the year. I think it was a good step having like the designated to return IR. Yes, it was, but why not, especially in these weird times, have like shorter term IR? Like, he's on 15-day IR.
They have to, right? I mean, they would have to. Why was the IR the rule the way it was, you think?
I guess to free up a roster spot. Like if a guy got hurt, so he's not taking up a spot. If you IR him, he's done for the year, but he's still technically part of your team. But you can bring in somebody to replace him, I guess. But it never made sense to me.
Then why can't you just cut that guy and count him as this? It makes no, because you lose some good guys who get hurt early, then they have to make a business decision. They're like, all right, do we keep this guy on the roster for 8 weeks now? We know he'll come back, but how will he come back? Will he be healthy? No, we'll IR him. Guy's season's over, week 2, week 3. He ends up in his own time coming back and rehabbing. He would be back full speed week 10 if he had to. And this is a massive player for your team, a big part of your team. I think that is a poor, that and offensive holding being 10 yards. I think those are two very poor decisions.
What should offensive holding be?
5 yards.
Just 5?
Yeah, it's a judgment call. Usually you can call it every single play. Defensive holding is 5 yards. Offensive holding is 10 yards. You call it on the offensive lineman. It's all of a sudden it's 1st and 20, 2nd and 20. It's basically a drive killer. And at the end of the day, it's just an objective call.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Yeah, you're right. It's tough to call. They could make it every play, but I feel like if it was only 5 yards, they'd have to start calling it a little bit more than they do right now.
Oh, ask Denver if they call it. You talk to anybody that knows Denver football, Denver Bronco football, they talk about that tackle just holding the hell out of everybody. That is literally what they talk about.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad idea for rule change, I guess. So wait, what team? Wasn't there 2 teams supposed to report like this Sunday?
Yeah, Saturday, the rookies for the Chiefs and Texans were supposed to report. And then Monday, I believe the Chiefs and Texans are actually supposed to report because they have the first game on Thursday. But nothing has really been figured out in that sense. But Calais Campbell, executive committee member, he said every single day he's been on these calls for a return to play, figure out proposal or whatever. He said it's going to be close, but he thinks 28th is good. And I don't know what that means. If it's going to be close, then figure it out tomorrow. What you think it's going to go back and forth like 5 more times? Is that what you're guessing? Volley is going to go back and forth? But I have faith that they are going to get this done and roll back in, especially because the MLS has been able to do it. The NBA has been able to do it. The NHL has been able to do it.
Yeah.
Now, granted, one of their hub cities is currently stadium or arenas is underwater from flooding. That happened last night. Congrats to the NHL hub city in Edmonton. The Rogers Center could be a bit difficult to get all the water out of there, but as long as they keep COVID out, who cares? But after seeing all these other teams be able to figure it out, the NFL has to get it done. They have to get it done, and I think everybody, both sides, know that they have to get it done.
Yeah, so like you put that tweet up. So the Chiefs said camp is a go, and on Monday, what rookies and QBs are going to report. Is that like a quarantine type situation? But or they're to report for testing on Monday.
Well, that's the issue is like right now, there's no protocol on how many people are allowed in rooms, when's the testing happening, where are people staying, can they go home? There hasn't been any conversations or arrangements made between the NFL and the NFLPA when it comes to that. So that was Patrick Mahomes' tweet last night where he basically said, like, we had all this time to figure it out. Now it comes down to this. And what he's referring to is, so the clock is now ticking. If the NFL and NFLPA don't have an agreement on testing and other health and safety protocols before Monday, Chiefs and Texans players will be required to report or face discipline, setting the stage for a possible grievance is what Tom Pelissero figures that up and or finishes that with. And Mahomes, the face of the NFL, $500 million guy, says, stuff is crazy, man. All this time we had and now we're down to this. But that's real. And I feel like that's almost every negotiation. It's always the 11th hour things happen. It's always whenever the backs are against the wall. Now, granted, the NHL was able to extend a CBA another 3 years somehow in the middle of this and pay bonuses early. But the NFL, he said it's going to be close. Calais Campbell said it's going to be close. So I don't know if they expect a return proposal and then a return and a proposal, and then they'll finally be able to whittle it down to what they both want. But I just hope they get it done because, man, it would be great to have the NFL this year.
Oh, it would be gigantic. But I mean, just NFL opening camps up would be great. I think it would bring hope to people everywhere and to give them something to look forward to. And if the NFL can do it and they can somehow get all these guys together and all the support staffs and they don't have too many issues and don't have big outbreaks, they could kind of set the path on what it looks like for multiple other sports, for schools, like everything, I guess. But right now, if it's a negotiation, it's not like a normal negotiation. When it's a normal year and they're trying to get the CBA done between the NFL owners and the Players Association, we all know like the owners want more money. They're going to give and take whatever. Players are going to give and take. They want some time. They want some more free time and not as many patent practices. But right now, the negotiation is so weird because no one has the answers. No one knows what they want.
Yeah.
Like the owners claim to know like but they don't really know how anything is going to go. Like, so what a weird negotiation to happen.
We want safety. No, we want safety.
No, we do.
No, we want to play. Well, we want to play, but we want
And
safety.
the owners say, no, you pay for it. We want you to pay for testing. We don't want to pay for testing. Like, I'm guarantee you they got to be going back with stuff like that.
Oh, you're allowed 20 people in each room. No, we want 15. Well, we want 25 now. Well, we want 10. Like, who is making the decisions?
Hey, did you hear on one of the proposals from the league, supposedly they sent one of theirs, and it said if a player tests positive for COVID, they want to be able to say it was a non-football injury and be able to not pay the guy.
Or insurance for that.
Like that was I mean, thank God the players didn't just glance over that. Like, can you imagine agreeing to that?
Well, I think that's the problem, though. That kind of sets the stage for what you're dealing with. Yeah. Like, for instance, I've been in a few negotiations here over the past couple of years with people, and whenever somebody sends one over and they think they're going to try to get, like, it's almost like they put something in there like, oh, he's a fucking idiot, he won't read this. Like that type of stuff. Like that sets the stage now. Okay, if that's how we're going to be doing this, all right, that's how we're going to be doing. That is, I think, a little bit more scary to me than anything else. Like the fact that knowing that there isn't a lot of time, trying to sneak that in there, just being like, yeah, oh, by the way, it's a non-football injury, right? I mean, it's a virus. That's all. So you know what that means? That means we don't have to pay anything or insurance or anything. Like this is all on you guys to figure out. It's like, is that really a spirit of cooperation going into this thing? If that's what you're truly trying to do, but then on the other side, you got to remember. Hey, that's business, baby. That's all the NFL thinks about. They don't care if it's a pandemic. They don't care if there is a quarantine. They don't care if this is unprecedented times. It is a business. And it's like, well, all right, you're setting a stage and this is what we're going to have to fucking do. This is how we're going to have to do this then. All right.
Yeah, the players need to make some kind of just ungodly demands, I think, after they saw that. Like they need to, I don't know what they need to throw in there, but they need to try to sneak in a few things just to piss the owners off and let them know, like, hey, you're not going to sit here and bully us around this negotiation right now.
We're thinking double the money, by the way, because we are definitely at risk double now. So that's what we're thinking, and if you want to keep playing this type of game, we could do this all day. You don't want to pay us.
Hey, guess what? We want hazard pay, owners, because we're playing during a pandemic. We're putting our life on the line, our body on the line. We need extra hazard pay, and you're trying to take our pay away from us if we come down with this virus.
And time and a half, by the way. Also time and a half while we're there. So not only hazard pay, but time and a half and double our salaries. That's what we're thinking. But that's what happens in negotiations. I don't know how many humans are in negotiations. Like, I don't think that happens on a very regular basis where people are in negotiations. You just hear about them happening in sports. Maybe you hear about them in business. I had no idea what negotiations would be like. You watch Pawn Stars, you're like, okay, that's negotiations. You figure it out. But whenever you get into these negotiations, you got these lawyers who think they are the smartest humans on earth, and they're sneaking things in there. And then you read it back, you're like, oh, so these motherfuckers want to fight? Like, is this these people? They want to fight? They're like, no. This is standard negotiation. This is how it goes. That doesn't seem like that. Seems like they are. That is a direct shot at me. No. This is how negotiations go. It's like, I guess I'm learning that a little bit more here as I go. But the first few that I was in, I was like, tell them fuck off. I don't want to do it. I won't even. Like, well, we can't do that. It's like, well, if that's what they want to do, I don't want to get into a business partnership with the people that think that I'm that stupid, or want to take advantage of me that hard. They're like, well, that's just how negotiation works. It's like, that should be changed, I think. I think that should probably be changed because that's not helping anything. So I could see how these blow up, though, every once in a while. Because if that's how you set the stage, and then it's like, all right, well, this is what we're doing. There isn't like, you know what I mean? And that's why the NHL and the NHLPA was so impressive. The NHL, what they, I don't want to say gave in the negotiation, but it seems like they gave, okay, new CBA, more money for playoffs. We'll give you your bonuses early. If you're over the age of 35, like you're not, like they started taking, if you get traded, you can have a no trade clause in still. They like gave a bunch of things to the players, and they got the deal done. And it was like, that never happens. That seems to never happen. It's amazing that they got it done. Hopefully the NFL will be able to do the same.
Oh, it's good to get it done, but I think the NHL also realized the opportunity they have in front of them. Like, if they can play hockey, starting in August? Is that when games may start?
August 1st.
August 1st, they got 6 games. Penguins primetime, by the way. You know fucking why.
Bam. Yeah, exactly. So they probably knew, hey, I know viewership in America for hockey does not compete with the other big-time sports. So if we can get this time, maybe when basketball is on, but football's not on yet, these guys are breaking into camp. If we can get a big part of the season, we can get some giant ratings and maybe create more fans that will follow their teams a lot more passionately, even after COVID, into next year and the following years.
Well, it's like the Olympics. It's like an event at this point. It's not even an NHL season. It's an event. Like, hey, the Stanley COVID Cup is going on. They got 6 games a day, basically. Like, it's an event. It's more like the Olympics as opposed to an NHL season. So there's a chance you can draw in more fans, like you said. But also, I feel like the rate of play is going to be like playoff hockey. And playoff hockey is some of the best television there is every single year. Now, granted, I didn't get to watch it last year because the Pittsburgh Penguins decided to lose as soon as they fucking could when they got in playoffs. But normally, that is when the season starts for a Pittsburgh Penguins fan. And playoff hockey is next level.
I think since hockey relies heavily on gate revenue compared to the NFL, which is getting a lot of their money from TV contracts, I think the owners are smart enough to realize, all right, let's bend over backwards here. We'll give them this win here. And then a couple years down the road, we'll gouge them again, and we'll get in their pocketbooks again.
It's all about the gouge. Smart. A lot of people trying to gouge people these days.
Big time.
Yeah. NHL players, though, they're not scared to miss a half a season, though.
Hey, hockey
Whole
will
seasons.
stop. The NHL has proven time and time again, we'll cancel this fucking season. Both sides have said it. The NHL has said, listen, we won't play one. And the players have like, we won't play one.
Well, the players brought in Donald Fear to head their players' union. Used to be the baseball players' union representative. So that's why he brought over that no-nonsense, bad blood type thing. What we see baseball all the time now.
See that?
Yeah, baseball's players. The players' union for baseball. I feel like that's next level. Like every other sport should watch them and try to follow their path.
Bro, they have such monster deals. It makes no sense. I turn on most of those games. There's not a single human in the crowd. Okay. And I feel like I'm maybe the only person watching the game. And they got all the people out there. They got concessions where you still got the guy walking around. They're paying him. They still got the lights on. They got everybody in the parking lot working. I don't know how they turn a profit. I have
What
no
was
idea.
that guy they pay? Who are they paying? Eminem's here? What is that?
Lemonade, dude.
Oh, do it again.
That guy was a
All right,
legend in
I got
Pittsburgh.
it.
Rest in
I
peace
see
to
it.
him. Guy passed away, I believe, a couple years ago.
I
He was a legend. That guy, electric.
have an update on the Tiger and Cut situation.
All right, hold on. I want to know, is this good news or is this bad news?
I think it's well. At first, it's going to sound bad, and then in the end, it might be good.
Oh, yeah, it sounds like terrible news.
So
Fucking
this
cowards.
season, they changed the cut from 70 in ties to top 65 in ties.
Oh,
So it's going to sound bad. But remember when we came on air, it was 72 people who were at whatever plus 3.
Yeah.
It's now dropped to 69th place is plus 3. So all we need is 4 more places.
four more dudes.
4 more dudes. 4 more dudes.
We need them.
Hey, there's a ton of people at +2 right now that either are teeing off right now or they're on the second
yeah.
or third hole. So he's gonna.
yeah.
We
Oh,
got
and
time.
you know, Jack's over there trying to make the course as hard as possible because he's scared old Tiger's going to catch up to him and that these young golfers are hitting golf balls 400 yards. Jack's not happy about it. He decided to change the course up. The people are going 22 under last week. Now people are shooting +6s. Jack's not happy, and hopefully his rage will be felt by the second group that's teeing off right now to get our boy Tiger in there because the make the cut bet on FanDuel at +100 somehow was a lock. I have never seen anything that was a bigger lock than that, AJ.
It was. Where's Bryson DeChambeau after he's driving the ball 400
He's eating a
yards? every
protein
hole?
shake right now. You know.
He just teed off. He was +1 to start today, and he is still +1.
Oh, so we need him to potentially stink too.
Yep.
How you doing? Keep it moving.
How you doing?
Right.
Keep it moving, right to +4, pal. We need you to get to +4.
Get higher.
So that's what we need people to get to is +4.
Yep. Ideally.
+4 or better, ain't
Or
nothing.
3.
That's nothing.
It's nothing. They can do
Get
that.
there.
One hole you can go to +4. Rory almost did it, and then he ended up. Rory flipped his entire round around. I don't know how he did that. I don't know how he did that. There's an app for all the players inside the NBA bubble whenever you get there. And it's like, so, training camp, you get that folder. It has an itinerary in it. Basically, for every day, you do this. It has a map in there, like this is where you'll eat. This is where this is. That is kind of a standard thing for all camps. The NBA gave them an app, basically. It is a beautiful setup. Restaurant delivery, food and beverage, team experiences, staff experiences, request open shooting, request a walkthrough, dream and color essentials. Don't know what that is. A little mind health. Here you go. Where are some doctors at? Team liaisons, amenities and services. All the transportation you could potentially need. This is a brilliant idea. It's easy to use, it appears. And it has directions for everybody who needs to be everywhere. And I would assume that there's also the rules and guidelines for when you're allowed to be in places. This is brilliant. And I'm a big fan of what the NBA did for their players to make it as easy as possible going into a bubble for our entertainment.
Oh, this is awesome. I mean, the map seems like they thought of everything. But what was
Del
it said?
Frisco's?
One part of that said voting and registration. What are they voting on?
Probably different. I don't know.
Is that like voting,
Meals?
like registering to vote for like
The election.
The
No, it's probably the election.
President?
Yeah.
They're trying to. They're making it easy to register to vote. Really, in their app.
Hey,
I mean,
Hey,
more power to you.
Civic
you
duty.
truly
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
You really
civic
did think about it.
duty.
they thought of everything.
Well, can we go back to that restaurants? What food they got?
Yeah.
It was
Del
like Del
Frisco's.
Frisco's.
Got to be something good.
What
You say
movie was
Del
Del Frisco's
Frisco's?
from?
All-time
Then what are these
steakhouse.
pictures they're showing? What are these?
Del
like, box
Frisco's, by
lunches
the way,
they're
has a
showing? If they
big
can order
appearance
Del
in
Frisco's.
Citizen. What's that movie
thought
where
Del Frisco's was-
P.S. I Love You guy?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I was.
Gerard Butler.
Yeah, that's what they ordered.
Yeah, but
Oh,
what's-
law-abiding citizen.
Law-abiding citizen, where he takes
Yeah,
the T-bone out and
yeah.
kills the guy so he can get
It
down
was
the
Del
basement.
Frisco's.
Del Frisco's.
Hey, we're on the
Del
same page.
Frisco's there. Yeah, it's, the P.S. I Love You guy.
Joe's Crab Shack.
Del Frisco's down there. T-bone, I guess, is a murder weapon in movies. But I'm,
Morton's? Jeez.
Morton's is.
Morton's on there, too?
Joe's Crab Shack. Yes.
Love Joe.
No one's ever responded to Joe's Crab Shack like that.
I think every Joe's Crab Shack I've ever seen is a closed Joe's Crab Shack that is shut down.
Feel bad for you guys.
I had no idea.
They're still in business down in Orlando. The guys get all the food that's left down there.
Joe.
It's the best.
So didn't the teams with the better records got the better hotels, didn't they?
Bowling, boating, golf,
This is a Domino's Pizza.
driving. This is a Domino's Pizza. And I wonder if it tells you like how far along you are until the food gets there. How far
Walkthrough?
until you
What,
get to the.
You can request a
the
walkthrough.
pond.
Does that go to your head coach?
You think that our podcast is on there?
Can you click on request a walkthrough?
No, this is a video of someone going through the app.
Yacht Club. Let's
virtual
go to the
chapel.
Yacht Club. Rick Ross has a great song called "The Yacht Club." It's actually it's a pretty solid song, actually. Good craftsmanship, good
yeah?
penmanship there by Ricky Ross. But that didn't look that bad, huh?
No.
No,
No,
it was
not
nice.
at all.
How about the NBA though? Literally investing heavily in this. They know that if the NBA was able to pull this off, it is going to be massive. The biggest superstars in a stage that has never before been seen. The camera angles that they're going to have, the broadcast, the inside.
Hopefully hopefully the refs are all mic'd and we can hear what the players are saying a lot.
This is going to be potentially massive for the NBA. And I would say that the NBA popularity going into the quarantine was maybe at its highest.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think ratings were going very well. And I think The Last Dance only proved that even more so. I think people will be very, very pumped to see the NBA. And I, for one, am certainly that. And I hope they can make it happen. And I like that the NBA, that app was awesome. The bubble, it seems like they've tried to make it as awesome as possible. I feel like the NBA is legitimately going all in here. Now, the NHL has a flooded arena, but the NBA seems like it's been going pretty well.
Did we figure out what happened with the Rogers Center? Why is it flooding?
We asked our Canadian friend why, and he said it because Edmonton's a dump.
Which is apparently accurate.
That is we don't know that. I'm not judging Edmonton because
It was a very bad storm, torrential downpours. There was hail. Anything could happen. Now, granted, that building was built in 2016, so that's a little questionable.
Yikes.
well, and also it's supposed to be the hub for the entire Eastern Conference or
told
Western
you.
Conference of the NHL.
I told you not to get too excited because the NHL would screw something up.
So if it rains,
So if
that's
this
what
is
the
the
players
most
do.
of it, then we're in good
What's
shape.
COVID going to do if rain can just take down the entire building?
Here's what you do: you get all the fire extinguishers in the building, you spray the water, it freezes over, we play puck.
Oh, we got two. Now all of a sudden we got two pieces of ice.
Yes.
How's it going? Walk through, skate through down here, game up over there. You know the deal. This came from outside. Let's make the most of it. That's not good for the NHL though, and they're going pretty soon.
That's just the entrance. There ain't no fans in there anyways. They'll be all right.
True, coming the back door. Hey-o.
If it's just, hopefully the flooding is just that area, right? I mean, that's a lot of damage. You have flooding that's a couple feet high. That's a ton of damage. You got to replace everything.
I learned my house is above a floodplain today.
So that's good.
Well, I've always wondered.
Better than below a floodplain, right?
Yeah, but I've always wondered what goes on in my backyard because this son of a bitch becomes a pond and then the earth starts shooting water out. You remember that, Nick? The first time we saw it? That my backyard starts shooting water.
Sprung a leak.
It just starts shooting
geyser?
water. Yeah, and then you can feel the hole. So you plug the hole and then another one comes popping up. So it's just like the first time my backyard flooded was a good time. I mean, I put on my waders, I walked through there, and then the thing's just shooting water and I'm doing like whack-a-mole or whatever it is with these things and the water's just popping up. So I always wondered. I guess it is a floodplain down there. So
Goddamn Yellowstone.
can't grow anything back there and also can't build anything back there is what I've learned. It's a little frustrating.
Yeah. So what can you use it for?
Did they
When
declare
it's
that
not when it's
you
not
bought it?
raining, you can hang out a little bit.
I would assume, but I didn't pay attention. What's going on?
No, I said, what can you use it for then? Is it completely useless?
You can pump balls back there whenever it's when it's dry.
Hell yeah.
Hit golf balls.
It's great when it's dry.
You can hit golf balls back there. It's great when it's dry. Great when it's dry. But when it gets wet, you see, which is probably about once a month, it floods that thing. It makes it green. You know, it's good for viewing. You can hit golf balls in there. You can ride dirt bikes and quads and even a Cadillac Escalade back there. But other than that, on a day-to-day basis, can't have any structures in there is what I'm learning here, because Tim McAfee is about to potentially build something back there, and we couldn't do it in the big field. Tough.
Hey, what about the Rachel Nichols situation where her thing got hacked? Is there any more information?
I don't know. There's been like quotes that have come out from people, statements on the process, but I'm not sure any more information has come out. That's an interesting story there. There's layers to that.
It's an inside deal, right? Like it was an ESPN employee who, I guess, allegedly recorded her audio or whatever video, right?
Yeah, and it's super illegal, obviously, because you're spying on somebody. And if it's somebody inside of ESPN, which we don't know, by the way, we have no idea if it's somebody inside ESPN. I don't think they've said any names. They've alleged that it was somebody in ESPN, which would probably make it the most easy. But whoever was creeping on her, right, that's illegal. I'd assume rather large case there to be had. Then the video contents that were trying to be shopped around, I guess, I think that's also illegal. So there's a lot of, there's layers to this. And I would assume that we're going to learn more and more about this as the days roll on. But boy, that's an insane story. That is a insane story. Because how often, is that the only time it's ever happened?
That's what I'm saying. Whoever hacked her camera, I'm assuming this is not the first time this person has tried to hack somebody's camera.
Yeah, I would assume as well. Which is,
don't you assume that your phone, your cameras, your microphone is always on? Like someone could easily tap into it at any moment and listen to you and see what you're doing.
Yeah, I've acted like that for a long, long time, though. I've always just assumed everything I say is being recorded because maybe for a little bit I got a little bit too high on vitamins and thought I was actually The Truman Show because there was so much ridiculous shit happening. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to act like people are listening to me every single moment of my life. And that happened, when I was rather young, and I've just lived that way. But whenever the Amazon lady started coming into people's houses and then Siri was just like an assistant for people, it just became like, so everything that happens in the world is being recorded. And then you start listening to the nerds and the smart people that go to school for the IT world, like Nick, and he covers his camera thing. And I'm like, what are you doing that for? He's like, oh, you don't want to leave that open. People get in there all the time. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, goddamn, I guess so. So, yeah, I guess you just have to assume that that's happening. It's not right, though. That is nowhere near how you should be living your life. But that is insane that is the world that we live in. And tech is the greatest thing on earth, but it also can be literally the worst thing on earth.
Yeah, it's highly illegal, and it's not right for people to do that. But the majority of anything going on, if someone is spying, which not even spying, but they just want your information so they can sell it to people, like for advertisers. That's what's so valuable. That's why your phone, like, your audio, if you start talking about miniature horses, you're going to start getting ads popping up in the next day or two about miniature horses probably.
See, I turned mine off. I don't have Siri on, so they don't listen.
I don't have Siri on either. They still listen. I've never used
they don't listen to anything. I never get that.
Hey, Siri.
Okay. Give it a shot.
What do you want me to say?
No, I'm just saying, like, if
miniature horses.
Conversations. People have done this before.
You're
People
gonna
have
have so many
experiments
Instagram
like
ads for miniature horses now.
Man, I have a position in my house that could potentially hold a couple miniature horses. Ooh. Maybe I'm looking to buy one of those. I have Siri off. Never had her on.
Just wait.
We'll see if it happens.
Siri means nothing. It doesn't matter. You don't need Siri on for that to happen.
Siri's actually a protector for your phone.
I do believe that happens to people, but I always thought it was just whenever you had Siri on.
No. I don't think so.
No.
Because I also have it off, and boy, oh boy, do those targeted ads work.
Do they?
Oh, yeah. They
I
get
always
you.
get random stuff. That's why it's awesome.
So because you can do Instagram stories, they have your audio on at all times, so that's how it can hear you.
Oh.
I think you can turn that off. I know that's one way.
Instagram does that, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Zuckerberg is going to get his shit.
Oh,
Yeah. Any app that asks you, hey, do you want to turn your microphone on, allow access to your microphone from this app?
Oh, I always say yes. Nice. Go ahead.
They're listening.
Talk to me.
Bro, there's probably so many bits that I've gone through that these people have that could potentially just land them a lot of money if they're just to steal it. You know what I mean? Hey, I want to let you know, little phone, that whoever's stealing my shit, you still got to deliver it like I did. Okay, you got to execute. You got to execute. If you're gonna steal all my shit.
Can't listen.
You got to execute it.
Error.
I'll keep you updated through the weekend if I get miniature horses just popping up in my thing. Maybe barn stuff. I'll be pumped up.
Yeah, please do.
I want to let you know that an ad that I hope pops up on everybody's screen. Go ahead and turn your Siri on for this one. Bird Dogs. The gym shorts with a built-in silky soft inner liner that makes underwear obsolete. Woo! They also make the best pants that we've ever worn as well. Bird Dogs are shorts that feel so damn good, your legs get mad at you when you take them off. They give your legs a hug that feels so delightful at all times. You can wear them while working out, maybe doing 150, 170 floors on a Stairmaster. You can wear them while you're going to meetings, maybe in negotiations that we talked about earlier that always, get a little contentious. You can also wear them to sleep. You can wear them to do anything. They're the all-terrain short that feels better than any shorts in the history of shorts. And right now, things are heating up, and they are back. When you go to birddogs.com and enter promo code SPORTSTALK, not only will you get the most comfortable shorts you've ever worn or maybe a pair of pants that you'll love for sure, you will also get a free pair of nunchucks.
What? Oh, don't do it.
Nunchucks. A murder weapon that you get for free whenever you order at birddogs.com and enter promo code SPORTSTALK. Nunchucks are back. You saw the bear doing it on the internet. You saw the bear doing it on the internet the other day. Now you can be the bear. Free pair of nunchucks with every order at birddogs.com. Promo code SPORTSTALK. Promo code SPORTSTALK.
Hell yeah.
Guys, there's currently 67 players at +2.
Yes. Come on. Right there.
We knew it. We knew it was a lock. We got to stop doubting us, okay? Christian Pulisic didn't score. That wasn't our fault. They hacked him. Jorge Masvidal didn't knock him out in the first round because, he had to lose 20 pounds in 1 week, and it was plus 1,100. Throw it in there. Maybe it'll happen. But this one, we knew was going to happen, and here we are probably 2-3 hours away from confirming it. Can't wait.
I mean, the projected cut is still +2, and Tiger's at +3. Oh, look at this. This is your geysers?
Yeah, you see that thing?
Jeez.
That's my, you got to really shovel it, You got to
Not stopping. That thing is not stopping.
So you
ankle
knew,
deep.
you had to know when you moved in that was like an area where you can't build it.
It was a sunny day.
No, I did not, actually. You got to remember my
Sure,
house.
the previous owners had to disclose that.
I assume they did, but you know how many pieces of paper in that fucking thing? I mean, it was the price that I got the house for. I was just like, yeah, I'll take whatever problems there are. I can invest however much in this, and it's still a good deal. I just didn't know that I was going to have to, the water heater was going to be done, the air conditioner was going to be done. Just basically everything behind the walls of the house was going to be broken, and I was going to have to update it. And the backyard fucking had 10 geysers in it. There's me plugging one hole, by the way. And this is, yeah.
This is awesome.
No, it's the whole back.
Oh, no.
It's a bad sign.
So does this happen every time you have a big rain?
Oh yeah, and it'll rain in Indiana, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it will. Right there, it is. There's the other one popping up.
But it doesn't flood. Like your house isn't flooding, is it?
No, my house is up on a hill, but there's a barn over here. Listen, this house was purchased because I drove an ATV in the back here from, like, basically right up that way from me is the end of the fence, and then there's some woods, and then there's a creek. And on this side of me, this way, Bob Cavoyan of the Bob and Tom Show lives there. And he had me over for a party or whatever, 4th of July party. It was like a get-together. And he was like, hey, there's a house next door. He has a bunch of land there and a couple houses there. It's kind of like his corner. He said, hey, there's a house for sale next door. It's been for sale for a while. The price is really good. You should take a look at it. And I was, a couple brouhahas deep at that point, and probably cloud 10 or 11 because, it was going down. And I hop in an ATV, go back there, and I look at it from the back. And it's like an MTV Cribs house just staring at me. And I was like, in all this? And he's, all of the land, yeah, oh yeah. In the front, there's a tire thing, and then that's the house or whatever. There's a Olympic-sized pool back there. And I'm like, for how much? And he told me the price. And I was like, yeah, I'll take it. So I literally called the guy that day and said I'd like to buy it. They expedited the entire process, paid cash for it. And then I had to learn about all the problems that normally happen probably during an inspection period. I just didn't do that. I just kind of bypassed all those things. But I love the house. I absolutely love it. It is way too nice. I do not deserve it, but it is a beautiful place. Beautiful place.
Where did you live before this house?
I lived on the other side of town. I had a house over there too. I had it was on actually an old golf course. So I had some land that was a golf course. And it had a barn as well, but it was a smaller house than the one I'm currently in. But I planned on living in that one for a long time. And then I saw the house Bob showed me, and I was like, this is an upgrade very quickly for not that much money. Let's go ahead and pull the trigger there. And they always say, you should get a mortgage out so you don't just dump all your cash into something, because then you're house rich or something like that, and not cash rich or something. Yeah, I just paid it cash and never looked back. And there's been a couple of times where I was like, probably should have done a mortgage there, but nah, to hell with it. We'll move on.
Yeah, they're not going to take it from you. You bought it. You own it. They can't come grab it from you now.
Hey, I almost did a house trade a couple of years ago.
Ooh, with who?
Hey,
with who?
Favorite things you've almost maybe done. One of the favorites.
A house trade. Okay, so there was this one particular house that was right on the lake up here that's like 2-3 blocks from my house. I don't live on the lake, but there's a lot of old money on the lake. Like the lake is where there's a lot of money on this lake.
What lake is this?
I think Geist, I believe, is what it's called. Geist is the name of it. It's a nice lake. I'm not a big lake guy. I think I might become one after our trip to Lake Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
But I've never been a big lake guy. But beautiful houses on this thing. And there was this one little inlet or whatever. And I was riding my motorcycle, and I was on a back road, just kind of cruising. And I saw this incredible, like, brick wall. And then it said, for sale sign. And it had to open driveway. And I was like, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go check this out. And I drive down the driveway. It's this long-ass driveway, super long. There's like 2 football fields basically on either side of it, like completely flat fields that you could do whatever with it. And I'm rolling back there, and I just see like they had like a fountain, and it was like this entire thing. I'm like, golly. And there's obviously nobody there, because the grass is a little high. It's a little bit thick, So I go all the way back there. I look at it, and this house is just gorgeous, just absolutely beautiful. It's right on the lake, and I'm like, okay, I want this house. So I want to see what this house is. So I call the person that's selling the house, and I had met that person before, and I was like, "What? How much is this house?" And he told me a price. I was like, "Oh, that's a lot." He was like, "But the people that own this house live out of state, and they've been trying to sell this for 5 years. So what I think we can do is potentially try to make a play here or whatever." And the thought was, I said, can I trade them my house so they come into a little bit lower market to try to sell the house, and I can make up whatever difference they think it is via the inspection rate or whatever?
Genius.
And they were like, he was like, that's a good idea. Let's give it a go. So I was this far away from trading houses with somebody. Just it was this, for some reason at the very end, somebody backed out. I think either the husband or the wife backed out of the deal, and they were like, we still have a house for sale, and this is a house we know nothing about. That's a bad deal. And they were like, yeah, you're right, bad deal. They at the very last second backed out. But I thought I pulled off like the real estate move of the century. I'm like a GM. I'm trading houses. Hey, let me get this one. It would have been quite a come up, especially for what I bought this house for. That would have been a real nice move by me, but it didn't come to fruition.
Should have Dave Sampsoned it too, just bump up your house, bash the other one. Be easy.
That would have been rude.
It's not the craziest idea thrown out there, I guess. So if you would have made up the difference between, so they still had to sell a house, but the house to sell was much easier to sell in a lower price bracket than the
it
one
would
that
have
you
been a
would have moved
win-win.
into.
Exactly.
Win-win. They were tired of paying for landscaping for years that they said they had to keep up with, and they wanted to kind of move on to a new chapter. I'm like, let me help you.
And then you got to make sure the only problem is, Pat, though, I would imagine these people might have an inspection and realize, hey, this is a bit of a floodplain back here. I've seen video of the owner plugging holes that he has posted himself. This might not be the greatest idea for us.
Well, I didn't think about that at the time. And to be honest, it was in the middle of sunshiny time. I'm not sure that the inspector would have known. I don't know if there would have been. I don't even think they would have known that thing was a pond.
I think they can figure those things out. Yeah.
It does become a pond like twice a month or once a month. Just a full pond back there. No fish though. So really, all the drawbacks of a pond and none of.
So what you should do, I think it would help add value to your property, since that land can only be used when the weather is good and when you want to punt footballs. Why don't you dig a giant pond in that area? Make it a legit real pond.
Well, I had a pond at my last house. A lot of upkeep for the pond, especially if you want a water fountain in it. There is a lot of shit you got to do. Clear the algae and the this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got to put in chemicals and stuff to keep the algae out. You should dye it blue. My in-laws live right next to us. I dyed their pond blue. It looks great.
It's a lot of work, though. A lot of work. I never caught
If
a
you
fish
want it
out of
nice.
that pond.
No way.
Really? They said there was fish in it, they said. A lot of people caught fish in that pond behind my house, my last house. I never caught a one.
Did you ever try?
Oh, yeah. It was like
What were you
chewing.
using?
It was like chewing tobacco at training camp. You know, every single training camp, somebody was like, "Oh, you got to try it. You're gonna love it." I'm like, "Well, every other year I hate it, but I'll do it because I think it's gonna be good." And I hate it every single year. That's what happened when people would come to my house like, "Oh, we gotta go fish. I'm a good fisherman. This would be fun." I'm like, "Okay." Every other time has been fucking terrible, but here we go. And they would catch fish, and I would sit there and look at them and hold my fucking rod. So maybe no.
Yeah, I'm not a big fisherman either.
I don't know how people do it. Like, I get that there's probably a method and some people are better than others. There's a reason some people pull big fish all the time. But I just can't do it. I just can't do it. For some reason, I can't figure out fishing. I think it's potentially because I've never really caught a fish other than that swordfish that I caught up in Lake Minnetonka. Yep. But I think that is probably a problem. I fail a lot, so it loses my attention quickly.
It's not fun.
Not fun.
If you're going out and you have to cast for 6 hours before anyone catches anything, like, no, I've already been home for 5.5 hours.
Bingo, AJ. Bingo.
I need to catch. Like, fishing is not fun, but catching fish is cool. Like,
Fish
I'll do that. That's why fly fishing is fun. You stay moving the whole time, and you're usually going to get some bites and try to catch some things and not just sit there sometimes on a boat in giant waves puking, and you still have a 4-hour ride in after you don't catch any fish.
Where was that at?
That's happened many times. Anytime I've been dumb enough to let somebody dupe me into coming out of deep sea fishing. When you're like, I'm like, hey man, I get sick in the car. I'm just gonna tell you, like, oh, you'll be fine. Waters are calm. It's cool. Oh, how far are we going out? We don't have to go out too far. And then all of a sudden, we're 2 hours in, still driving. No sticks in the water. No rods in. And then we finally get there, and I'm like, wait. Whenever we get done not catching fish, we have a 3-hour ride back home in this super choppy waves. I'm like, I'm just not cut out for this. Like, I feel like I'm watching the SIG from Deadliest Catch out here around the deck. Like, I don't want to do it anymore. And so now I've tried to make the decision, like, as a 36-year-old, like, I'm not doing it. I can't do it. I don't want to go out anymore on somebody's boat unless you're going like 40 yards from the dock. I just can't go miles out. I just can't do it.
I agree. I was invited to one of those.
I love boats, but I need to have some kind of power over when we go in, how long we stay out, where we're going to be.
I agree. I completely agree. I did one of those, and I got seasick as well, and I knew it was coming because, you know, at those amusement parks, like the pirate ship, the one that goes back and forth, I can't do it. I get
puke on everybody sitting on that side. Yeah.
Why is that? Is that because I'm soft? I feel like I'm a relatively mentally tough person. You get me on that shit that just starts going like this, I ain't got it, boss. What up, Diggs?
AJ Green has signed his franchise tag.
Okay, AJ Green on the Cincinnati Bengals. Here we go. Okay. Didn't play last year, you know, because of injury. Zach Taylor led them to a 1-15 season, I believe, in his first year head coaching. They now have Joe Burrow. They benched Andy Dalton on his birthday and trade deadline day. Things going well in Cincinnati. Maybe a new upside here. AJ Green's going to play on the franchise tag. What are they going to do? Hopefully be a good team because the Cincinnati Bengals fan base is a loyal one. And Cleveland has always talked about because they've won 0 playoff games in 20 years. One playoff game in 20
Played
years.
one.
They played one.
Yeah.
Oh, they've only played in 1 playoff game in 20 years, so they're very the dog pound is very loyal. Bengals fans have had to live through a bunch of shit too. Let's not get it mistaken.
Yeah, AJ Green's awesome. I'm glad he did, but what a weird year if you're Joe Burrow. You come in, we don't know if we're going to have a season. Yeah, we probably should have a season, but there's most likely not going to be fans there. But you're like the savior, the face of the franchise. It's just a weird time to come in as a rookie, I feel like.
Yeah, and you don't have the OTAs because nothing.
He hasn't met his teammates yet.
But flip side, there's next to no expectation for him. You know what I mean?
Like, well, I guess right now, but once he gets on the field and they start playing, don't you think the expectations are going to be sky high?
probably by Joe Burrow and maybe the Cincinnati Bengals organization, but I think fans will very much give him a pass, knowing that he's a rookie starting quarterback who has had 0 OTAs, 0 walkthroughs, had to go through a quarantine, has been quarantined since before the draft and everything. I mean, I think there's a lot of, I don't want to say expectations lowered, but I believe expectations have been lowered for Joe Burrow and most rookies because this is a very different time to get acclimated to the game. It's going to take you a bit. It normally takes you a bit, but even more so now it's going to be tough.
Well, and you're Joe Burrow stepping under center for a team that won 1 game last year. So it's not like you're stepping into a great situation. Like you have a lot of people on that team that still have to prove to that organization that they should be starting, that they can win some games. Like how many games? What do you think? What would the over? What are the odds saying? What's the over under for the Bengals total wins this year?
I think it was 5 or 6.
Ooh,
I think
got a lot of faith in Joe Burrow, huh?
I think it was 5 or 6. Yeah, definitely, but I would assume that might have went down since then because of the lack of anything available for a quarterback, which is vital to a quarterback, by the way. I don't know if he's been throwing with A.J. Green or if that's been happening, but the timing of a quarterback and a wide receiver, especially in the NFL, when you have to throw guys open and you have to know where people are, it is very difficult to be a rookie quarterback, let alone if you get 0 time to work together.
5.5.
5.5, yeah, so 5 or 6. I mean, it's almost like I'm a fucking sports book.
Whoa.
But
So would you take the over or under for 5.5?
I'll take the over just because I feel like Joe Burrow is a fighter, right? And I think A.J. Green is going to have a big year if he's on a franchise. I think he's going to want to have a big year. Let's hope he stays healthy. I'd take the over for them, but it does not look likely.
It's a murderer's row in that division.
Yeah, I mean, Ben Roethlisberger's back. Lamar Jackson's back. I mean, Baker Mayfield, if he can figure out Stefanski's offense, he has also not had walkthroughs. And I think we know from Hard Knocks that he's not a big film study guy. He's more so like a practice, let's do the reps type of guy. Hasn't been able to do much of that. They might be able to figure it out, though, because they got an incredibly talented squad. But the Bengals, the AFC North, does not fuck around. So maybe I am on the under there. Maybe I am on it. It's just, it seems like an impossible task for Joe Burrow to go in there and win.
It does, but I mean, look at what he did his last year at LSU. Every week I was like, okay, this dude's playing out of his mind. Like he has to take a step back at some point, doesn't he? And then as the stakes got bigger and bigger and each game meant more and more, Joe got better. Like he didn't back up. So yeah, I understand it's not the NFL, but still, like when the most pressure was on Joe Burrow, that's when he plays the best. He's a special dude. He's got some moxie with him, So I think that's a good thing for Cincinnati.
I love his moxie and the fact that you dropped moxie in there because it's a great word that doesn't get utilized enough. But I saw him at the SEC championship game in Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Sphincter Stadium down there with a $10 million bridge to the stadium, right? It was a $10 million bridge to the stadium. Yeah, it was only supposed to be a couple million. It was over budgeted by $10 million. Now people, I think, are in jail because of it. But when I saw him during that, from the moment he stepped on the field for warm-ups, because we were in the stadium early, watching him like just be calm, cool, talk to people. They had a close-up on him. It's like he didn't even know he was in the SEC championship. Then for warm-ups, the way people responded to him. Then in the game, that was the game where he got out, scrambled out, rolled to his left, threw a dime to a guy crossing across the back. Just the entire time, he was cool. He had this air of confidence about him. And I think you're 100% right. He got better as he went because in that national championship game, people forget – right before half, he took a shot, and I thought he had a broken rib. I don't know I don't know what the official. He could barely walk, and then that second half, he just came to life after trying to figure out the Venables defense or whatever. So you're right. I think he is a stud, but this offseason has not one that favors people that have never been in a building before.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe at the same time, I mean, the defensive guys also haven't gotten to work together, and a lot of defenses, especially when you match up a bunch like there's communication is gigantic and you just have to get reps with each other, especially game reps. Like you have to get beat in games, preseason games, and know like what's going on to see, okay, let's never let that happen again.
You have to get beat to learn. That's called maturity. It happens in life, happens in football as well. It's called wisdom as well, I guess. Tom Pelissaro just tweets, NFLPA Executive Director DeMaurice Smith, who I saw one time in one day have 3 different suits on at 3 different events. The guy dresses clean. Wow. Says on a media call that union officials had a call last night with team doctors who gave the opinion with a couple reservations that it is safe to open training camp. Okay! Yeah! Look at this. Hey, that is a massive hurdle. The medical side of this, the health side of this, that is a massive hurdle that other leagues were really stumbling over, trying to figure out how to get back into this for the safety of everybody. I think the NFL, with a chance to watch how the MLB, the NBA, how the NHL has done this from a safety concern with COVID-19, I think they took that in, they digested that, figured out a best possible plan. Now they're saying, hey, with a couple reservations, we got to talk about some shit for sure. But we are open to go back to training camp, which is supposed to happen next week. Is the NFL back? Feels like the NFL's back.
Hell
Here
yeah!
we go.
Hell yeah!
Here you go, AJ.
How do we open up camp and we don't have to shut half of them down 5 days in when something happens? Like, that's the thing. That's what they got to be worried about.
AJ, not now. Not now, AJ.
What if I just turn a blind eye to it? Then it's fine. It's
Yeah.
gonna be okay.
Well, it's Friday.
Well, it's called speaking
about
something
you,
into
Mom?
existence, too.
Let's plan for it. Well, let's plan for all the possible issues. That's what we need to
Plan
do.
for no issues.
No issues.
Let's plan for no issues. You know what I mean? Who needs plan B if you just plan on executing plan A?
Bingo.
Okay.
It does feel like that could be troubling, though, with a lot of players, with a lot of contact around each other a lot of the time. All you need is potential one little COVID-19 sneak into a building, and there is trouble. But hey, don't need to talk about it. It's Friday. Tom Pelissaro said he's going back to training camp next week. What's up, Nick?
Well, it's weird because DeMaurice Smith also said that he heard from coaches who have told him that the NFL's return to play protocols will not work.
Okay, so we're kind of coming back, and we're not. All right.
Yeah, but Pelissaro just said that it will, so.
Wait, so Tom Pelissaro says, DeMaurice Smith says camp's open, and then DeMaurice Smith says camp is not open.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
NFLPA Executive Director DeMaurice Smith says he has heard from coaches who have told him the NFL's return to play protocols will not work.
Yeah, well, those coaches aren't doctors.
Doctors are doctors, coaches are coaches. You know?
True. Hey, listen, coaches, I understand your guys' concern because you've been living through the NFL's protocols for longer because you've been back to work for the last couple months or whatever in the building socially distancing. What I understand that you guys are speaking from experience with the current protocols, but the doctors say everything's fucking cool, man.
It's not Harbaugh PhD, fool.
Yeah.
All right, that's a good note to end it on. AJ, hope you have a great weekend in Wisconsin, brother. We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Hope you have a good weekend, too. Hope your yard stays nice and dry and you can get out there and bang some balls.
That's what I'm talking about. Banging balls. That's the show.
The greatest sports talk show on the internet from 1 to 2 Eastern Standard Time. So come on down for a mental vacation with the boys on YouTube Live. It's McAfee and Hawk. It's McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk. AJ used to tackle quarterbacks, and he's a Rust Belt kind of guy. That's the punter of the decade for the 2010s, kicking Pierce missiles to the sky. It's McAfee and Hawk. It's McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk. It's McAfee and